Introducing the DRF Cash Grab app, the super easy, free-to-play sports predictor game from a name you know and trust, the Daily Racing Form. Use your sports knowledge to predict the winners, and you could score thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Pro football, college football, pro basketball, college basketball, hockey, soccer, boxing, baseball, and more. Compete against others for a spot on the monthly leaderboard. Download the DRF Cash Grab app and play today.
Welcome into DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbooks betting live stream coming at you almost every single day. We came at you Wednesday breaking down Thursday's action. We came at you yesterday breaking down today's USA-England game happening in just about an hour and a half at 2 p.m. Eastern. Now we're here to break down a little bit of rivalry weekend. We have a college football game tonight. We are, 3:30. We have a college basketball game we're going to break down for tonight's action. And then we are going to break down tomorrow's The Game, the 118th meeting of The Game between Michigan and Ohio State. It's back in Ohio State for the first time since 2018. And we have some three fantastic best bets that we're going to be breaking down for you. But before we get any further, just want to remind everyone to follow us at DRF Sportsbook. If you follow along with DRF Sportsbook on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're on social media, we're there too. But if you follow along, you can get exclusive betting angles, insights, line movements, trends, promotional offers, free bets, everything like that. If you're in Iowa, it's essentially a must follow. And if you're a sports bettor in general, it's a must follow because we're giving out data that otherwise you would know and that will help you win bets. So yesterday we were 2-1 in our Thanksgiving best bets. We were all over the Lions and Giants both to cover. We had a little bit too much faith in the Patriots defense, and we didn't have enough faith in primetime Kirk Cousins. But, if we're going and doing that 10 out of 10 times, I'm making those same bets 10 out of 10 times. So I feel really good about the 2-1. We've had a couple 2-1 days. We're on England to win 2-0 today against the United States, and a huge result earlier today with Wales losing to Iran. Iran scored in the 98th minute and I believe the 101st minute to pull away and win that one 2-0 in an absolute shocking result. And now, kind of regardless of what happens today in the USA-England match, U.S. kind of controls their own destiny still. You go out and you beat Iran, you pick up those 3 points. As long as you don't draw against Iran, you are advancing into the next round because Wales most likely is not beating England. And if they draw them, they only have 2 points. And so then United States is 3 points. So really, regardless of the outcome today, United States is in a really, really good spot. So it'll be a really fun time to watch that game later today. It's in about an hour and a half at 2 p.m. But we're breaking down some college football, some rivalry weekend action. NC State is taking on number 17 UNC, and the Tar Heels are 6.5-point favorites despite last week's terrible game against Georgia Tech in which they lost 21-17. The Tar Heels come into this one as 6.5-point favorites against an NC State team that's lost their last 2, and they're 2-3 over their last 5. They looked really strong. They were ranked at one point in the season, and there was a lot of hope around this Wolfpack team. But over the last month, that hope has dwindled, and that it was really just a nail in the coffin when they lost to Boston College by a point as 18-point favorites. They aren't good on the road. NC State is 1-3 straight up on the road and 0-4 against the spread. And they might move to 0-5 against the spread here today. As UNC at home, they look solid. They're 3-2 straight up. They're just 2-3 against the spread at home. That's the Tar Heels. But man, oh man, Drake May is fantastic. And I know they didn't have the best game last time out, but they're still the most efficient offense in the entire nation. And they're ranked 37th in EPA overall. Their defense is really bad. Their defense is the 118th most efficient defense in EPA per game. Not a good stat. And that defense has held them back heavily and is a big reason they're 9-2. But then you look at that Georgia Tech game and they only allowed 21 points, which might be their best performance, one of the best performances this season. So you hope they may have figured something out. NC State's offense is also abysmal. NC State is 69th in EPA with an average defense, not a terrible defense, not a great defense, a very average defense, but an extremely below average offense. This is an offense that's allowing just 4.9 yards per play. UNC's defense, while they're not great, going up against an offense like this might make them look great as they head into postseason football, bowl games, championship games. I'm not sure if they're eligible for the ACC. Coastal ACC confuses me with the way they break it down. But the key for this game is going to be UNC's defense. UNC is going to put up points. And if they want to cover, I think the defense has to make a stop or two and kind of come up with a big play, which I think they're fully capable of. They're coming off of a 21-point performance against Georgia Tech. The offense let them down, though, but I think they're going to rebound. This is a spot. I think UNC was most likely looking past Georgia Tech, one of the worst teams in the ACC, and had their eyes set on rivalry weekend. It's classic that the week before rivalry weekend, it's kind of a letdown spot, and that's what happened with UNC, and they slipped a little bit in the polls. Now they're sitting at 17th. Drake May lost a little bit of that Heisman buzz. He wasn't going to win it, but he was a fun guy to talk about, as he is one of the best and most efficient passers in the nation. And you see that with UNC being the number one most efficient offense. But the pick for this game is going to be UNC minus 6.5. I think the defense is going to come up big, but even if not, I don't have faith in NC State's offense to generate enough points to keep up with this UNC offense. This is a UNC offense that wins by 7.6 points per game, and they score 38 points per game. NC State's defense is pretty solid. They only allow 19 points per game, but this is an offense that can score just 25 on average this season. So on average, UNC is outscoring NC State by 13 points. Give me the Tar Heels to win and cover, kind of regardless of how this defense plays. I think if NC State doesn't score at a consistent pace and a score nearly on every single drive, UNC is going to slowly and methodically pull away. This is one of the most dynamic offenses, one of the most efficient offenses in the entire nation. And I think they get back to their dominant and winning ways here against the Wolfpack. UNC wins this rivalry matchup. Moving on from that one, folks, it's the game, the 118th meeting of Michigan and Ohio State. For the first time, it's back in Columbus since 2018, and Ohio State is a 7.5-point favorite, as Blake Corum's injury is still questionable. He has dealing with a knee ailment. It's unclear if he's going to be able to go tomorrow. It's still unclear. Keep checking on that, because I think this line's going to flip pretty drastically if Blake Corum is listed as a full participant in this game. And when his news came out that he was questionable, doubtful, this line started moving all over the place. It opened at Ohio State minus 7.5, but very quickly it went to Ohio State minus 10. Since then, it's kind of brought its way back down as Blake Corum's become more and more questionable as he's dealing with that knee to see if he can go tomorrow. I would be surprised if he doesn't go, but then it becomes a question of, is he going to be 100%? Is he going to get the same workload that he's accustomed to? And I just don't know. And because of that, I'm on Ohio State minus 7.5. Ohio State is a damn good football team. They're first in EPA, number 3 defense. They're the most efficient team in the nation. Michigan's the third most efficient team. Don't get me wrong. They've done that with a pretty good offense, 11th in offense, 7th defensively in EPA per game. But they do that with Blake Corum. This team runs through Blake Corum. JJ McCarthy, he has thrown 0 touchdowns against AP top 25. That's only 2 games, so a small sample size. But on the season, he's only thrown for 1,952 yards, which is 85th best in the FBS. He has 14 touchdowns to do just 2 interceptions. But to me, JJ McCarthy is more of a game manager. And when you're going up against CJ Stroud in such a dynamic offense in the Buckeyes, I think you need to be more than a game manager. Can this be his, huge moment early on in his career? He's just a sophomore. Of course it can be, but can you expect him to have a career performance against one of the best teams in the country? You cannot. This is also a game for all the marbles. The winner of this is going to go into the college football playoff, assuming they beat whoever wins in the Big Ten West, but we can't necessarily assume that the Big Ten West is going to put a great team in the championship game. I think Ohio State wins this game fairly easily. And I think Ohio State then kind of cruises to a big-time dub in the Big Ten championship game. Like I said, this is the first time that Ohio State will be hosting this game, the game, since 2018. And that's a game that they demolished Michigan. They beat them 62-39, and they were 4-point home dogs in that game. Now here they are as 7.5-point favorites, and I don't think there's much that can be done from Michigan for them to keep this one close, especially if Blake Corum can't go. Ohio State minus 7.5. Blake Corum's injury is the key factor in me going with Ohio State. It's going to prove to be something because the Michigan offense, it showed last week against Illinois, they struggled without Blake Corum in that lineup. So Ohio State, I think Ohio State wins regardless if Blake Corum goes or doesn't go. But with him out, I don't know if Michigan and J.J. McCarthy will be able to keep this one within a 7-point spread. I think Ohio State wins this one by 10. If you look at our power line, it likes Ohio State at minus 11, but our two game simulators like Michigan to win by 4 or to lose by 3. So both of our game simulators think there is a ton of value on Michigan plus 7.5. And I should also tell you guys, if you're in Iowa, our washed up walk-ons boost this week is Michigan to cover. They love Michigan to cover, so we've boosted that from minus 110 to plus 110. Will be interesting to see, but I think all the values on Ohio State. I think CJ Stroud, he's been looking for a Heisman moment. In all honesty, he has not played like a Heisman winner, and yet he is somehow the favorite. I guess they've had this game circled. This game's going to be his Heisman moment. When you're throwing to 3 NFL receivers, you're going to tear up this Michigan secondary. I think we might see a little bit of a blowout. Might not be as close of a game as we're all hoping. But the 118th meeting of the game tomorrow at noon, going to be a good one. Number 3, number 2 spot in the college football playoff is on the line. And last, but certainly not least, at least in my opinion, we're going to college basketball. The Phil Knight Invitational is proving to be a fantastic showdown as UNC is going to take on Iowa State in the Phil Knight Invitational. UNC, though, is coming into this one a little bit tired, I would say. I mean, this is their 3rd game in 5 days. That's what you get in early season basketball. Tip is at 5:30 p.m. in this game. And folks, I'm all over Iowa State, not Iowa State plus 5.5. I'm all over Iowa State. I think the Cyclones win this one at plus 180. UNC is a good team. They're number 1 in the nation, and I think until proven otherwise, they are going to be number 1 in the nation. But I don't think they're the best team in the country, and Ken Pom and a lot of advanced statistics agree with me. UNC's good, but Caleb Love does some interesting things. He doesn't feed it down low into Armando Bacot. If they were able to do that, they'd be putting up a lot more points and be a lot more of efficient of an offense. Even with that, the Tar Heels are still 11th in offensive efficiency. They play extremely well inside thanks to Armando Bacot and Pete Nance. Pete Nance can step out and drain the 3. The Tar Heels are an electric offense, but the thing is, I don't think they will be fully ready for this game. They don't use a lot of bench minutes. One of the least amount of bench minutes used in the entire nation. And you're playing your 3rd game in 5 days, might be some heavy legs, might be a little bit difficult against an Iowa State team that defensively is really, really, really good. Offensively, it leaves you wanting more. They're one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the nation. However, they play inside the arc extremely well, and they're the number 1 defense in the nation in turnover percentage. They are going to make you work on every possession. They are going to make you hate life for a majority of this game and make you work hard. And that is going to be big time as UNC. This will be their 3rd game in 5 days. So I'm going with Iowa State to win. Jaron Holmes, the 6'4" transfer guard, is going to be massive in this game. He's coming off of his worst offensive game, his worst game overall against Villanova last night, and now he's coming back here tonight. He's going to have kind of a bounce back performance. He had an offensive rating over 100 for the first, I believe, 3 games of the season. Then against Villanova, he was 85. That was his offensive rating. So he's going to need to have a good performance against UNC if they want a chance to win. And that's going to be proven to be difficult, as I imagine UNC will be probably putting Leaky Black, one of the best ACC defenders, on him in order to slow him down and make someone else beat them. But according to Ken Pom, Jaron Holmes is one of the best players, if not the best player, on this Iowa State roster. He was a huge pickup from St. Bonaventure. And if the Cyclones want to pull off this dub, they are going to have a big game from him. I think all of the value is on Iowa State, plus 180 on the money line. I'm kind of out on UNC as this really, really good team until proven otherwise. This is their opportunity to prove me otherwise. but I think Iowa State, the Cyclones, they picked up a massive win against Villanova. I think they can win this game. Powerline likes UNC -7, and our game simulator likes Iowa State to lose by 7. So, according to all of our stats, according to all our computers, UNC should cover. I'm fading that. Give me Iowa State, not to cover, but Iowa State plus 180 to win. Real quick, we'll recap our best bets. UNC -6.5 against NC State. UNC's offense will prove to be too much against the Wolfpack, and they will cruise to an easy win. Ohio State against Michigan, first time since 2018, and the fans are ready in Columbus. Give me Ohio State -7.5 in an electric atmosphere. The Buckeyes have been waiting to welcome back the Wolverines. They're going to do so by demolishing them. Iowa State plus 180, money line against UNC. I'm out on UNC until proven otherwise. Give me the Cyclones plus 180. Thank you so much for tuning in to DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbooks betting live stream coming at you each day that there are some fun sports on. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down some more rivalry weekend games in college football, some more college basketball early season tournaments. It's going to be great. Have a profitable Friday and enjoy your leftovers today. See ya.